What is up, everybody? Welcome back to episode 2 of CWT Dark. I am your host, Hunter Chambliss, and my co-host tonight is the infamous Liam Crowley. How's it going, man?
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm doing well, Hunter, and I'm excited to talk some wrestling because anytime I've been associated with CWT, it's very character driven and we're competitive. I'm excited to just kind of unwind and just talk about some news in the world of wrestling.
Oh, yes, of course. This is our laid back, really just news topic shows. As you guys can see from the banner here, we are talking about AEW's Double or Nothing. Ooh. But in some sad news first, you guys have heard last week's was this last week has been awful when it comes to wrestling news and the wrestling family. Both Shad Gaspard, former member of Crime Time in WWE, and was still working on the independent circuit at the time, and Japanese superstar from Stardom, Hana Kimura, have both passed away this past week. So let's start off with Shad. It was said in the week prior that him and his son, I believe they were out at a beach type area. They were swimming, and what was it, a tide?
I think there were like strong currents or rapids or whatever. Yeah, and essentially it was kind of they were in it was a series of days where we were just uncertain on what had happened.
We went missing for what, about 2 or 3 days,
Something like that.
yeah. And then the last thing that was said was he told the rescuers to save his son over himself.
Yeah. When I heard that news, like, I'm getting chills just thinking about it now. Shad Gaspard, obviously I'm not too familiar with his career. His time in WWE wrapped up before I started watching, but him and JTG were just so entertaining, and they fulfilled their roles so well. And everything I've heard in the past week of his peers and family and friends, they've had nothing but positive things to say about the kind of person he was. And to hear, basically, for those of you who don't know, him and his son were separated, I guess, enough so that the rescuers could only get to one at a time. And he instructed them to get his son first. And then he got hit by a big wave, and that, like, he went under, and
They knocked him, it knocked him under.
They couldn't find him. And then I think his body was found a couple days later. But essentially, the last thing he'll be remembered by is instructing rescuers to save his son first. And if that doesn't sum up the type of person he was beautifully, I don't know what is. The fact that he's willing to put his life second for his children, that's something that I really respect. And in moments of like split-second decisions that take great strength, to be able to say, I'm going to put myself second here, and my son is more important. I have nothing but respect for Shad Gaspard, his family and friends, and I hope everyone who's close to him is getting through this difficult time right now.
Yeah, we want to send so much love and support to both Shad's family and friends, and also friends and family of Hana Kimura, which this one actually hit me pretty damn harder, because that's someone who I just started getting into Stardom. Great promotion. She was the one that I was drawn to, Tokyo Cyber Squad and things like that. It's because she was just a ray of sunshine. Like, she brought so much happiness to that group. And if you guys don't know, I don't know how I'm going to break the story here, but she was dealing with, I guess, bullying online from her show. There was something that happened where I believe one of her roommates that was on the show dried her wrestling suit, and it shrunk. And there was a fight, and people online started going after her to the point that she ended up taking her own life. And God.
Yeah, man. This one's tough as well. Obviously, I'm not as familiar with her body of work as you are, but from everyone in the wrestling community and her peers and everything, they've had nothing but positive things to say about her.
Hmm.
But it's really shed a light on just the toxicity of the internet, and we all
Especially
know,
pro wrestling fans.
we know, yeah, how divisive and passionate wrestling fans can be, but there comes a point where passion needs to be checked.
Control.
It needs to be, yeah, if you have something that you want to say, you type out that tweet, but you got to read it back before you press send on that, because it's so easy to criticize someone that you've never met in your life before,
Hmm.
when all they are is a character on a screen. But people got to realize that there's real people behind those characters. And so to see a situation like this, I'm just hoping that if any positive can come from it, it's that the internet wrestling community and just wrestling fans in general can learn that they have to be a lot more positive and a lot more self-aware when it comes to putting their opinions out there.
Yeah. I believe they said that it was the use of hydrogen sulfide. I
Yeah,
said that correct.
that sounds right. Yeah.
Um, and she was only 22 years old, guys. Like she was the age of me, and it's something so stupid, something so ridiculous that one little thing you didn't like led to someone taking their life because you couldn't tell the difference between the wrestler and the person. They are people too. They're happy, they're sad, they have, depression. They're just like you and me, except they do something that they love. And the fact that, people drove her to that, to where she didn't feel love, she didn't feel like she had a place in this world. That's the saddest part.
It's terrible and tragic. And yeah, I have nothing but love and condolences to send to her family and friends. I know she was good friends with two members of WWE's roster, and Io Shirai and Kairi Sane.
Mhm.
Kairi Sane even making the effort to reach out to her when
Yeah,
she was posting concerning stuff on social media.
yeah,
And
like
I know,
self-harm photos
yeah,
online.
and Kyrie Sane made the effort to reach out, but with time differences and everything, it's difficult to reach people immediately.
Yeah, it
And
was good that
so,
she saw those and tried to reach. She reached Jungle Kyoto, who's also a wrestler for Stardom, who is really good friends with Hana Kimura, and with the time difference, it was a little too late.
yeah, it's terrible. But it just goes to show that even in all the toxicity that exists, not only in the wrestling world, but just in the world in general, to have close friends like that make that extra step to make sure that you're okay. I got to give props to Kyrie Sane
Mhm.
for making that extra effort. And like I said, nothing but love and condolences
Of
from
course.
myself, and I feel like everyone at CWT,
Yes.
towards both Hana Kimura and Shad
Shad Gaspard.
Gaspard's friends and family.
Yes. So yeah, kind of a sad way to start, but I don't know how we're gonna transition into this. Um, but after all that sadness, we did have a huge pay-per-view this past week. It was AEW's Double or Nothing. And in my opinion, very good show. Very, very good show from AEW. Um, so let's break down some of the matches. We'll go from the opening match to the end match. I did not watch the buy-in. I know the Best Friends and Private Party faced off for the number one contendership.
And Private Party did have a nice tribute to Shad Gaspard. They hit, I
The
believe,
G9.
Crime Time's finisher was called the G9,
The G9. Yeah,
and
it was
and they
a neck breaker from the fireman's carry position.
yep, and they hit that in the match, and it was either JR Excalibur pointed it out, And
Yeah.
that was something that I love seeing stuff like that, where it's like, it's almost like an Easter egg, but it's in the sense that, like, no, we're still, even though we're a couple days removed, we're still thinking about Shad and everything. So I thought that was really cool in the buy-in.
Yeah. So I believe Private Party won this one, correct?
No, it was actually the Best Friends. Because
Sorry.
they're on a bit of a hot streak right now, and I think that they're trying to maintain that momentum. Best Friends, they've always been a tag team for me that I was like, I don't know if I buy them as like real contenders, but they've been stringing together wins, and honestly, AEW gets it in the sense of there's no better way to build up stars than by just having them win matches. Like, it's incredible compared to where they were 2-3 months ago versus now, just stringing together a couple wins over high caliber teams. I remember they beat the Lucha Brothers at some point, which is a huge victory for them.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know if it was 2020 or 2019, but either way, wins and losses matter. As Sean Spears said later in the show. And it's pretty cool to see how they're able to build back up stars and put stock back in to, a tag team that I thought were just comedic, but no, they're viable contenders right now.
Oh yeah. So the card officially kicks off with a 9-person casino ladder match. Winner gets a shot at the AEW champion, whether it be Jon Moxley or Mr. Brody Lee. So the first 2 people to start the match, and this was interesting, was Scorpio Sky and Frankie Kazarian of SCU. So they had a little wrestling match, and then number 3, I believe, was Kip Sabian.
I think that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah. So Kip Sabian. He also had Jimmy Havoc rocking a very cool looking blood white suit with the tie. I like it.
Give us Progress Jimmy Havoc. It's all I want. I got, when he came out in that suit, I got shades of like his Progress run, and I was like, please, if you just let this man just run wild, like he will impress everyone.
Oh yeah. And then number 4 was Darby Allin, which he immediately just put his body on the line, did a huge suicide dive on the outside, and then who was it? He had Kazarian on the ladder. He had the ladder on the ring and the apron.
Yep.
And took a skateboard all the way to the top of a huge ass ladder, skateboarded down. Kazarian moved, and it looked like Darby Allin really fucked up his knee there.
Yeah, it was a brutal spot, but they love getting creative with that skateboard of his, and I was impressed by the creativity. Oh
yeah. So number 5 was the boy, Orange Cassidy. I love Orange Cassidy, man.
I honestly thought he had a chance at winning this match. I don't know why, but I just think a Jon Moxley Orange Cassidy match would have been insane.
That would be great. Because Moxley is actually a pretty good comedic wrestler when he puts his mind to it.
Yeah.
So him and Orange Cassidy could do something amazing.
100%.
I love the fact that Orange Cassidy asked the announcers how to win a ladder match. And Excalibur goes, Tony told you like 200 times in the back.
I love to. I was watching an old clip. It was like the last Dynamite before Revolution, and Chuck Taylor was cutting the promo for him, and he was like, and Pac, you think that you can just beat him, but this Saturday at Revolution, he's gonna try. I was just like, that's Orange Cassidy, comedic gold. One of my favorite performers going today.
Orange Cassidy, man. Like, I know there are people like Jim Cornette and older wrestling fans who don't like or understand him. I love Orange Cassidy, man, because to me, it represents kind of like what older generations think of the new generation.
Yeah.
We're lazy. We don't want to try, blah, 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 blah. But what's interesting is when he does try just a little bit, he shows off.
Oh, yeah.
He's like what's it, Ultra Shaggy?
Yeah, I could see that.
1%, he's like ultra powered.
he's definitely like he's a trained wrestler, believe it or not. Like he's just living the gimmick.
Yeah, he was trained by hold on.
I'm not positive on who he's trained by, but that match against Pocket Revolution was a genuinely good match aside from the comedic aspect. So he's phenomenal in the ring.
This one is
And who we got?
hold on. This is really bugging me because I know he was trained by someone like a legend.
I did. I saw him twice in person at two Evolve shows, and he's so much better in person too. It's
He
hilarious.
was trained by Chris Hero.
How about that? Cassius Ohno himself.
Ono and Mike Quackenbush. Is that how you say his name?
That name sounds so familiar. I don't know why. Maybe that's the real name to a different ring name.
Maybe. But yeah, see, I mean, he's trained by Chris Hero himself.
Yeah. Who else? Who was after Orange Cassidy?
It's perfect because it was Colt Boom Boom Cabana.
Oh yes, love it. I'm glad Colt Cabana is getting that main stage.
Yes,
because even though
real quick,
I
love the fact that on the buy-in, he was like you had the best friends explain to him how a ladder match works, and he stands with a ladder vertically laid down, and he does that in the ring, and he tries to jump and like reach the chip, like he can jump that high.
It was hilarious. His comedic, not only his chops, but his timing is just like perfect.
Yes. So yeah, next was Colt Cabana, who came in at number 6. And these guys just have a fun back and forth with Orange Cassidy and Colt Cabana. What happens? He oh yeah. So Colt's the only one in the ring. He climbs up the ladder to go for the chip, and both Kip Sabian and Kazarian tip the ladder over, and Cabana jams his fingers. His fingers get caught in the ladder, and oh my god, it looks like it hurt.
It was wince-inducing for sure. It was a tough watch, because that's the kind of spot that blurs the lines. I'm like, is that like planned, or is that like, is that actually breaking your fingers there? It was a tough watch.
So number 7 was Joey Janela, who was replacing an injured Rey Fenix, because people cannot catch Rey Fenix. Apparently, he got dumped right on his head.
Yeah, I think he does have an ankle injury right now, so I don't know if when he got dropped on his head, if that was what caused him to be out. But yeah, he's someone who's
saying is that it was that one. I don't know if he's got an ankle injury on top of that, but
yeah, okay. Well, maybe they, for storyline purposes, they wanted it to be the bigger injury. Joey Janela, I'm just gonna say it. I don't get Joey Janela. I know that like he's got this huge indie following, and he does those like Joey Janela's, like, I don't know, like spring weekend
shows.
Yeah, like his match I remember against Hangman at All In was great, and I was like understanding it, but like I hear him like complaining backstage about how AEW is not using him how he wants to be. I think they're using him just as like, I don't want to say like, I know he has more to offer, but right now I just don't get him. He's not in the best shape. I feel like he's just kind of thrown in like every now and then. And so like, yeah, I'm hoping he's a character that I want to come around on, but right now I'm having trouble.
I kind of hope because they were doing something with Joey Janela and Kip Sabian.
Yeah, because there's the real life history with Penelope Ford. Obviously used to be Janela's manager, and they did date for a period, but now she's real life with Kip Sabian. So
oh really?
Yeah, they reflected that with storylines. Yeah, that is, yeah.
Damn, I didn't know that. Okay. So number 6 or number 8, I'm sorry, was this dude might be one of my favorites right now, Luchasaurus.
Interesting. He
is I love his mix of big guy wrestling and like martial arts, like
Yeah.
kicks and spins and things like that. He works it really well.
He's got a good look, and he's very unique. I'm just hoping they like, it's weird because I don't know how seriously you can take a character like Luchasaurus, but Jurassic Express to me is just super goofy, and it's hard to like take them like a
That
legitimate threat. You know what I mean?
that's kind of true, but also like what we'll talk about after this. Um, don't count out Jungle Boy Jack Perry.
It's a good point. Yeah,
That
he
that
put
dude
on.
is insanely good.
We'll talk about it later, but he put on a great match.
Mm-hmm. Um, and then as Darby Allin is climbing the ladder, number 9, and all you hear is, what is it? You can't stop the cage.
Yeah, like you can't stop the path of Cage or the wrath of Cage,
Yeah,
something like that.
the path of Cage. The 9th entry and surprise entrance, ladies and gentlemen, is Brian Cage. What a get for AEW, man.
I remember a couple months ago, there were stories going around that he had signed with AEW, which I thought was cool at the time because I was like, usually there's negotiations between WWE and AEW when guys are free agents, and this was like AEW's first real like land of a free agent, when not land of a free agent, first landing of a free agent, because a lot of guys would take the money and go to WWE. Thatcher and Killer Cross come to mind.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember he kept saying that story was fake, but then Tony Khan said in the media scrum afterwards, like, no, he's been signed for a while. He's just been hurt. We're trying to figure out best place to debut him, which makes sense. So I guess
I wonder if they were in on it together. If Tony Khan told Brian Cage not to say anything, that way it's an even bigger shock when he debuts.
I would assume so because, I mean, AEW's had some bad luck with the whole coronavirus situation, because if all their debuts since coronavirus started were with a crowd, those would have had some of the biggest
Matt Hardy's would have been.
Brody Lee was supposed to debut in Rochester. Like, he would have got the biggest reaction in his entire career. And Brian Cage is another one of those guys that everyone always looks at Impact as like a bit of a joke, but
he was great in Impact.
Guys like him, guys like EC3,
Killer
Cross, they're not their
Johnny Impact, Ray Phoenix,
Sammy Callahan, like all these guys, like
Tessa Blanchard.
Yeah, they make a name for themselves in Impact, and by Brian Cage when he was their world champion, I loved watching his stuff. I love the whole like Wolverine stuff, calling him like Weapon X because he was like the man of the X division. I thought it was beautifully done, and the fact that they paired him with Taz, very, very exciting.
That's the one thing I'm iffy on this pairing.
Okay.
Because I was thinking that they were going to pair him with Jeff Cobb.
Yeah, what's up with that? Where's Jeff Cobb at these days?
Who is all like, because Jeff Cobb seems like someone who would be a better fit with Taz, being kind of a smaller, stockier wrestler type character.
Sure.
Jeff Cobb is. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they used him a few times as the mercenary for the Inner Circle, and that's it. Like, he had a fantastic match with Jon Moxley.
I think he's one of those guys, similar to like Marty Scurll, who doesn't, and Nick Aldis, that they don't want to be tied down to any promotion. They want to just.
Yeah, I know Jeff Cobb has
New Japan, Ring of Honor.
Well, his contract, he's signed with Ring of Honor, but he can do limited AEW dates.
Interesting. Okay.
Kind of like how AEW has, where their wrestlers can do limited matches in Japan.
Yeah. So I mean, I understand the whole aspect of like wanting to give Taz the managerial role sooner rather than later, and if Cobb's not available, I feel like Brian Cage is a pretty good fit. I will say, I mean, I do agree in the sense that I think Brian Cage is a good enough talker on his own that he doesn't need Taz necessarily. but I kind of like what they're doing because I'm assuming what's going to happen
Freaking
is
Darby Allin versus Brian Cage.
I think they'll do Darby Allin versus Brian Cage, but I like that because I get shades of like, remember the Braun Strowman versus Sami Zayn feud? Or like this honestly gives me Jeff Hardy Undertaker vibes, where like Darby Allin will get decimated. Don't get me wrong. He will lose this feud. He will lose every match against Brian Cage. But that moment when he kicks out of a finisher, or his body is just destroyed and he still gets up and he wants
imagine like Cage just beats him down so much, but he walks out and then freaking Darby Allin is still just like standing up on the ropes.
Yeah. That's honestly what I would imagine. Like they did that well with, I think, obviously the match wasn't that great, but in the build up to Dean Ambrose versus Brock Lesnar, Dean Ambrose would get like his shit kicked in essentially, and then Brock Lesnar's walking to the back and he gets on the mic. He's like, is that all you got? Like I thought the Beast was better than that. And like if they do that with Darby Allin, I think that's one of those examples where this is the literal perfect feud because both guys will come away looking super strong. Like you'll have Brian Cage getting a big win, but then you'll have Darby Allin looking like a guy that can just take punishment. And if and when, because it will happen eventually, they do like a Daniel Bryan-esque storyline with Darby Allin, and he's gonna win the world title eventually. He is that long-term project that they're slow burn over time, giving him more credibility.
He's the Jeff Hardy of AEW.
He 100% is. I don't know what it is, but he has that like silent charisma where it's like I just want to root for this guy. I don't know why, but I really like him. So Darby Allin, Brian Cage.
Also, I think they debuted him so well.
Oh yeah, Darby or Cage?
Darby.
Yeah.
The promo packages, his match with Cody going to the time limit. They booked him really well from the jump. And
don't forget, he had an AEW title match on Dynamite against Jericho.
In Jericho's first defense of the title.
He lost, but I really enjoyed. There was one thing about it. He came out with like different face paint where it said like champ, like all over, like half down his body. And I just love little things like that because it shows like, no, I'm changing up my attire so slightly because this is a bigger match for me. So he's one of those guys where he definitely gets it, like how he's got the it factor and he knows like that he's over, but he's not like trying to like run it into the ground. Like he's okay with a slow burn. And I think the long-term AEW project of Darby Allin, the payoff is going to be monumental.
Dude, I want to see him and Priscilla Kelly together.
If AEW will sign her, I agree. But
she's already signed.
Is she?
I thought she was. I mean, she's been in like, I know she's been in the women's division. I don't know if she's.
Okay, well. Yeah, that might just be me slipping up, but I haven't seen her. Maybe she's been on Dark. I don't watch Dark that often. I watch Dynamite more often. But yeah, I mean, I get that, but I also kind of like Darby on his own. I wouldn't mind him working a program with her, like a mixed tag type feud.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah.
I don't know if this would work, because I don't know if you can turn Cody heel. But if you have a heel Cody and Brandy going up against a face Priscilla Kelly and Darby Allin,
I could see that.
That would be awesome.
The
roles are reversed. We have a heel and a face, and then you've got that new dynamic added to it.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be very interesting.
So back to the match.
Yeah.
So Cage is going up to the ladder. Darby interrupts him. Out comes Taz, and Darby Allin takes this sick bump where he's laying on the table, the ladder on top of the top rope. Cage picks it up and throws him outside, and his head hits the rung of the ladder.
Yeah, that was one of the more creative spots, but I was like, man, Darby, like I really hope you drink the same water as Jeff Hardy, because I don't want you seeing getting hurt, you know.
Your body is screwed. We didn't talk about one of the greatest spots in the match. It's when Cage gets buried under all the stuff. They're carrying the huge ass poker chip, which I hate the fact that Orange Cassidy is helping. I don't know why. Seems like something he wouldn't do.
That's fair. Yeah, yeah.
And they just bury Cage.
Yep.
And then he has the Spider-Man moment where he just like lifts everything up and comes out.
And don't forget, I forget who took it and who gave it, but someone hit a Death Valley driver onto the chip.
Joey Janela hit, what was it?
Was it one of the SCU guys?
Hold on. Janela. Oh yeah, he hit Orange Cassidy with it.
Jeez, yeah.
From the top rope.
Yeah, that was a brutal spot.
And you can hear the smack, the impact.
Yeah.
So yeah, Brian Cage then climbs the ladder and retrieves the poker chips. So Brian Cage is the next challenger for either John Moxley or Mr. Brody Lee. What a match this was. Great way to open the card.
Nothing hotter than starting a big pay-per-view with a ladder match. We see it at Mania all the time. We saw it with TakeOver New Orleans. Yeah, that North American title ladder match. Mm-hmm. It's a great way to start. And also, side note, we can talk about this with other matches too, but I just love what they're doing by having some of their roster in the crowd and having genuine fan noise, because it's not easy to watch WWE shows like NXT. Some of those matches, I'm just like, we just saw Damian Priest,
but they would be so much better with the crowd interaction.
Yeah, because you need that energy.
And what's cool about AEW is there's like mini storylines going on with the people in the crowd. Like you have freaking MJF and Shawn Spears betting on matches.
Yeah,
referees getting involved backstage. Then you have like,
my favorite one was when Brody Lee was cutting a promo on the last Dynamite before this one, and Billy Gunn and his kid were like shouting, and 10 was up, and Billy Gunn's kid just kept saying like, "You suck, 10. You're the worst. There were 9 of you, but there was 9 of them before you." Like, and I was just like, this is just so funny because they're all like, all the boys in the locker room are clearly like, they would be smart fans, you know. They would know the ins and outs, and that kind of stuff just gets me cracking up.
I don't know if you watched the pre-show before the buy-in.
I think some of it, yeah.
But they had an interview with Billy Gunn where he was talking about how like, oh, maybe I'm the 9th entrant. He goes, no, I'm not. Me and my son are going to be in the crowd being the most obnoxious, annoying fans you can ever think of.
I love it. I love it.
All right, so let's move on. The next match is Jungle Boy taking on MJF. This is a fantastic, pure wrestling match.
100%. MJF, he just gets it. Like every time I see him, whether it's on Dynamite or a pay-per-view, I'm just constantly impressed by him because I start to like genuinely hate him. I'm like, damn, he's doing his job. How about that? Like so often in today's wrestling, it's you want to root for the heels because they're just so cool. And MJF is one of those pure heels that is just like, no, my job.
Dick.
Yeah, 100%. And I love his look. I love the Burberry scarves, the Burberry patterns, the teaming with Wardlow.
Yes.
Great. It's fantastic.
Let's talk about MJF's injuries for a second.
Yep.
These were hilarious. He acts so like it's so serious, and then it's something like a hangnail. Or he clips his neck shaving.
Yep. So good. So self-aware, and I love it.
Oh yeah. So let's get into the actual match. This match is really good. It gives they give him like 20 minutes.
Yep.
And I'm never bored throughout this entire match because not only do they have history, they've wrestled before on Dynamite and the friends before that, but it just seems like they have really good in-ring chemistry with each other.
Yeah.
Where they don't have to really talk it out. Like they know exactly what each other is going to do before they do it.
Yeah. Like we talked about earlier, Jungle Boy is someone who I think once he puts on a little bit more size, I think he's going to be a big player. But yeah, this match was great in the sense that, they didn't have to go crazy emphasis on high spots or crazy showcase moves. The storyline just kind of drove the match, and I thought it was very good for that reason.
There was one insane spot that I love, and it's towards the end. Jungle Boy hits MJF on the apron with a reverse poison Rana, and the sell that MJF gives is priceless. He falls down, his eyes are glazed over. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect selling.
He, like I said, he gets it. He's an all-around performer, and he's getting better with every match he has. And I'm glad he won because he's one of those guys where, like, I remember when he came out and I saw that his record was like 5-1 this year, and I was like, that's so inflated because he's not getting decisive victories, but like I enjoy that his character, he's like, sliming his way to get these wins. And
they actually brought up that his only one loss was in a 4-way match in which he wasn't pinned.
Yeah. One thing I just thought of, I don't want to go too off topic, but we were talking about, past match with the long-term storyline of if and when Darby Allin eventually wins the world title. I think the perfect champion in that scenario is MJF.
Yes.
I think you build up MJF, you give him the world title, you just have him be, a prick the whole time.
That rich versus poor.
It's Randy Orton, Daniel Bryan. It's the entitled, you're a B+ player. You're not on my level. Build that up. Maybe, who knows? Maybe if and when they do that storyline, they'll be in the position where they can sell out the Jaguars Stadium and just, man, I can't imagine a better pure moment than having two guys that, I mean, obviously they were on the indies before, but MJF and Darby Allin are AEW guys. All the AEW title matches, for as great as they have been, they've always included XWE guys, Jon Moxley, Brody Lee, Jake Hager, Cody. Like, it's going to be so great once they're able to establish themselves as like, no, we are a legitimate alternative because our biggest drawing match includes two guys that we made famous.
Yeah. And that's something that a lot of people are saying, like, this is like reminding them of like XTNA days where they just used old wrestlers for old wrestlers for the sake of the name value. I don't get that at all. Because like all of these people who, these ex-WWE guys, one, they were not happy in WWE. They were mistreated. They were misused. They didn't like what they were doing. So this is like the way I see it. This is a new start. So you have a new Brody Lee. You have a new Jon Moxley.
100%.
And two, when people bring up that Chris Jericho shouldn't be the first world champion, I disagree. He put over so many young talent, even in loss as champion. It's insane. He made Scorpio Sky, Darby Allin, Jon Moxley. He put over so many people that even when like Darby Allin lost or Scorpio Sky lost, there were always close matches. He always made it a fight.
Yeah.
Hell, he sold for Pineapple Pete.
He did. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Because I mean the XTNA like comparison, I don't get, because the guys that were running it there, like the Main Event Mafia comes to mind, and you had guys like Booker T, 6-time champion, Kevin Nash, unparalleled success in WCW and WWE. Who else was there? Jeff Jarrett. I mean, I guess he didn't like reach his main event status in the other companies.
Kurt Angle,
main event of WrestleMania against Brock Lesnar. Like, those were all guys that had already achieved top tier success. So in the AEW sense, it's like, no, you got Dean Ambrose, Jon Moxley, prime of his career. Brody Lee, never allowed to be a single star in WWE. Even Cody, like, I feel like you can't even make that comparison with Cody, because the Cody Rhodes from WWE and the Cody from AEW are night and day, completely different people. I remember reading articles about Cody in 2012 and 2013 and how he was just like upset and thought he could be used better. And I was like, I don't know if he's really worth as much as he says he is. And he proved that wrong over the course of the entire 2010s decade. He is the man in pro wrestling, and maybe in 2013 he wasn't that guy, but he knew what he could become. And like I said, the guy he is in AEW is completely different than the guy he was in WWE.
Same with Dustin Rhodes.
Yeah.
You cannot compare Goldust and Dustin Rhodes in AEW.
Goldust is
Different people.
Goldust is a comedy wrestler, and Dustin Rhodes is a gritty, serious veteran.
Yeah.
You gotta love it, honestly.
Yep. All right. So as this match intensifies, Jungle Boy starts fighting back, and you see the shock on MJF's face as he was not expecting this fight from him. I believe it ends when they are going for simultaneous roll-ups.
Yeah.
And what is it called? MJF uses a modified European clutch to win. Like, he wins clean.
Yeah.
And pretty much what that is for you guys is he grabs both arms like this, pulls them down, and then pins them like that, to where their arms are crossed over. Yeah, definitely a fantastic match. In my opinion, might be the best wrestling match of the night.
I could see that, yeah.
Pure wrestling sense. I definitely want to go through, like, at the end, have like best pure match, best brawl, and best like overall match. So we'll do that towards the end.
Sure.
So next we have the TNT Championship match, Cody taking on Lance Archer. First off, what's your thoughts on the belt? The controversy behind the belt design.
Oh boy. I just don't understand the emphasis on red straps in wrestling. I don't think we've ever had a belt that looks. Which one?
Well, one, if you're asking which belt design looks good with red,
yeah,
the NXT North American Championship looks amazing, and it's got a red strap.
The NWA?
No, the NXT North American Championship.
Oh, okay. But that's it's more
the
like
National Heavyweight Champion.
Yeah,
looks really good.
I see it in that sense, but they did emphasize that it's not done yet, so I'm excited to see what it will look like when it's finished. But I've never liked the design of a big logo. Whatever the logo is, that's my problem with WWE titles right now. It's like it's a giant corporate logo, and this one just looks like the giant TNT logo. So I think with some proper gold trimming, which they said was the plan, that they just need to add gold, I think it will look acceptable in the future. But right now, what I will say is it can't look better than the world title, because the whole point is it's a mid-card title. It's a secondary.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be on. Like, think about it like this: the WWE Intercontinental Championship does not look as good as the World Heavyweight Championship.
Yeah,
it's not
even by size alone, it's like it's a little smaller, So it serves its purpose. I'm not like irate with it like when I was with the Universal title, but it definitely. I'm looking forward to seeing what it will look like with those additions.
Now, I'll say Cody and Tony Khan both said that the reason they went with the red strap belt is because they wanted to use the classic designs of the NWA and older belts like that did have the dark red straps.
Yeah.
So to me, I like that they're kind of adding tradition as well.
Sure.
And plus, I don't think if you add a black strap, it will look good.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think now maybe a white strap would look better if you had the gold trimming around it and things like that. But I think the red design actually looks good. I mean, to me, the design of the belt doesn't really matter. That's why I got people. I also mad at the fans at SummerSlam for ruining a great Seth Rollins and Finn Balor match because of the design of the belt.
Yeah, that's true.
It's the belt design, like
it'll grow on me. I mean, I don't like hate it. I was just like, But the fact that they did emphasize that it's not done yet means that they even know backstage that it doesn't look as good as the plan is. So the fact that they want to emphasize that it's not done yet, I appreciate that.
Yeah. And we had Mike Tyson out here presenting the belt. So it's weird because I really want to love this match, but to me, this might be one of the weaker ones on the card.
Really, I really like this match.
It's not like the worst match.
Sure.
It felt like it went just a little too long and was overbooked towards the end.
I can see that. The reason why I really love this match is mainly one because of the outcome, but two because I am a huge Cody Rhodes guy. I love Cody. He's one of those like baby faces that I want to see win. And so everyone going into this match and even afterwards, all the comments about, oh, look at you, like VP of the company booking yourself to win a title. And I'm like, even if he did book himself to win, which he didn't because it's Tony Khan's decision is the final like straw. Even if he did, you can't just have like, oh, you have an executive role, so you must lose all the time. Like, lest you forget, he can't challenge for the world title anymore. He lost to Jericho. He lost to MJF. All he's done is lose. And the storyline leading up to this was he's getting brutalized by Lance Archer. Like his wife has the snake put on her. Like he's clearly the underdog babyface. And if Double or Nothing is their answer to kind of like, I don't want to say WrestleMania, but like it's their big show. It was supposed to be
it's supposed to be kind of like their WrestleMania.
It was supposed to be at the MGM Grand, which is a bigger arena than they run other shows at. And you need to have those big feel-good babyface victories. And I think Cody winning here was 100% the right decision.
Oh, no. I definitely agree.
Yeah.
Cody should have won this match. Because I'm also a huge Cody fan. Something felt off about midway through the match.
Okay.
I love the start.
Love the start.
I love how Cody runs out and just gets hit immediately with a blackout.
Yes. So good.
Rolls out of the ring. So good. Because I thought that maybe it was going to be over. I was like, oh, shit. Like, they're going to really do this. But the match continues. And the fight itself was really good. You had a really good fight between the two. What really kind of downs it for me is the interference of Jake and Arn. I feel like if you didn't have them, and I know why you have to have them, or if, I don't know, I know Jake Roberts can't take a bump. Maybe he can. Or maybe you just have Arn take a DDT. Something that will, like the referee catches them and then boom, they're both out. Then you have the halfway point, and then you have the rest of the match with just Cody and Lance Archer.
Yeah.
But the way they got rid of the managers was weird. Because you had Arn trip Lance after a distraction from Jake, who for some reason was walking the ring apron. Then you have not only another referee coming down to say what he saw, which shouldn't matter because you can see it. If the referee not officiating didn't see it, it still counts.
It's true.
Then you had freaking Mike Tyson, who is supposed to be a Cody fan, snitch on Arn Anderson. How does that make any sense?
That's a good point. I will say I like the incorporation of a second referee because that's one of the biggest logic flaws in wrestling when it's like everyone watching saw someone hit him with a chair, but like, oh, the referee is down. So like, I kind of like that they're incorporating that kind of stuff.
Which
I didn't like the Arn interference. Cody's the face.
Yeah,
that's a super heel move. There, like
I can see why Arn did it though.
I don't know if I missed something, but I thought it was very unprovoked.
Because Jake Roberts was all the way around the ring. He's been helping Lance Archer throughout this entire match. He's been distracting Cody. He's been, getting involved in the match when he didn't have to. So Arn's there to kind of counteract that.
Yeah, reciprocate. I guess, yeah. I thought, and then also when he was like hiding too, when he was like trying to hide under the ring, I was like, you kind of did a slime ball move. Like I don't really like that. Like I didn't want Cody to win with Arn's assistance.
Yeah,
Even if Jake was helping Lance.
yeah.
You know.
Now, if they continue a storyline this way, where maybe Arn is trying to corrupt Cody.
Arn was a 4 horseman, so
yeah, so it would make sense. That could be interesting. But I don't know, like the first half of the match, I really loved because the way it started, the way they were brawling back and forth. Once the managers got involved, though, it kind of knocked it down for me a little bit.
Yeah, I can see that.
I would rather them not have Arn and Jake there and literally just go one-on-one for the belt, especially if this is going to be the first time ever.
Yeah.
You're crowning a champion. I'd rather it just be one-on-one.
We also got to talk about that quick cut shot to Mike Tyson when he was yawning. I was like, oh no, like wow. Whoever's running the TD board right now, like the bad time to switch angles.
Dude, I also hated the fact that they kept panning over to Tyson like all the time.
Yeah, that was it felt very like, look at us, we got Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
You know, like, oh, that guy that's been like, you know, hot on social media because he's been like training for like a boxing comeback. Like,
dude,
he's with us.
Great.
He looks jacked. I think I don't want to say it's gonna happen, but I think Floyd versus Mike Tyson could happen. I think there's a real possibility.
What? There are like 10 different weight classes between them.
McGregor made it work, you know, and he was an MMA guy. Like I know the weight classes are different, but like biggest money match of all time in terms of boxing.
Yeah. So let's get back to the match a little bit. I do like how they protected Lance Archer in loss.
100%. Yeah.
It didn't take just one crossroads to beat him. It took 3.
And Cody knew it too. He hit him like all consecutive.
Well, no, 2 consecutive.
Yeah.
1 in the middle of the match, but still, it took 3 to knock him down.
Yeah. I don't think he's really hurt by this loss at all. No. And I think with guys like this, one of the biggest curses in wrestling is an undefeated streak because he can never lose no matter what happens. Like it happened with Rusev. It happened with other guys too, like where it's like once they eventually lose, their stock drops a lot. So I think he had to lose eventually. And I'm also like, I like Lance Archer for what he is. I think they've built him up to be a strong, like monster type character, but I'm not like devastated that he lost.
Yeah, I'm not either.
This is Cody's match to win.
Yeah, and I'm actually a huge fan of Lance Archer. I followed his career through his whole TNA days. When he was part of the Rock and Rave Infection with Jimmy Rave.
ECW when he was Vance Archer.
Vance Archer. And then, of course, his incredible New Japan run.
Yeah, so
Texas Death Match against Jon Moxley for the U.S. belt.
Yep.
So overall, I enjoyed this match. I didn't hate it by any means. I'm glad that Cody won. I just feel like if you take out the managers and you take out the Tyson cuts to Tyson a lot, the match could have been a lot better.
I can see that.
So next match is Chris Statlander versus Penelope Ford. This match is just whatever. It was supposed to be Chris Statlander versus Britt Baker, but Britt, believe she got injured. I believe
it is. Yeah, it's an injury. I don't know what it was, but yeah, this kind of felt like a nothing match to me.
Oh yeah, it was on last week's Dynamite or the week before Dynamite, where I believe it was Nyla Rose was in a tag team match. She got flipped onto Britt in a corner, and Nyla Rose landed on Britt's knee.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So Statlander hits the Big Bang Theory to win. Not a bad match. It made Penelope Ford look really good. Chris Statlander is one of my favorite women wrestlers right now. I love her style, her gimmick, the way she can. It's really a great hybrid of like a high flying pace with like strong style.
Yeah, she's a solid member of the women's division, and I like that they're building up individual characters because for so long it felt like it was like Britt Baker and friends for so long.
Yeah,
But Chris Statlander's on the rise, even Penelope Ford, Nyla Rose, Hikaru Shida. I don't want to mispronounce that, right?
Hikaru.
Hikaru Shida.
Hikaru.
She's also great. Like they're understanding that they need to build individual performers and not just have build it around one person, because I feel like that can work, but with their women's division, you don't want it to feel like just kind of cluttered.
Yeah. Plus tonight was actually really Double or Nothing was actually really good when it comes to women's showcases.
Yeah.
Because you had, in my opinion, which was a fantastic women's title match, which we'll talk about in a minute. But next we have Dustin Rhodes versus Shawn Spears. I love the Shawn Spears news segment.
Yeah.
Where he's just sitting in the suit talking about how Dustin Rhodes is retired and it's all Cody's fault. I love the fact that like Spears comes out just fully dressed in a suit. And his first response is, I think he said something like, I know what you're all thinking. Boy, do I look good in a suit.
I love Shawn Spears. I don't know if it's not that he's treated poorly, but I just wish that like they gave him more of like a main event level push. But I like that they're letting him talk, because that is one of his stronger suits.
Well, also I think he wants to spend more time at his wrestling school. So that could be a reason why he's not getting a major push yet, because he wants more time to focus on his wrestling school with Tyler Breeze.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah. This match is probably the worst in my opinion, because it really wasn't a match.
It's not really a match. Yeah, it was more of an angle.
Dustin Rhodes comes out. I love the fact that Shawn breaks the fourth wall a little bit when he does the classic like, oh, I'm gonna play this dude's music you want, and then he doesn't come out. And he's like, oldest trick in the book. You all fell for it.
I'm not gonna lie. One thing I will say about this is I thought this was going to be the debut of Sting. I really thought. I thought when the music played and he didn't come out, I was like, we're gonna either hear a crow or someone's gonna get lowered from the ceiling. I thought that was Sting was gonna show up.
Because Cody did a Sting.
He did. He did the call and he hit the singer splash. So Cody knows. Cody's in on it. It's gonna happen eventually. And I thought that he was gonna debut here, but I think that's one of those ones where you gotta wait for crowd noise for that. You gotta wait.
Dude, Sting's the reaction to Sting's debut in WWE at Survivor Series was massive.
Yeah, so good.
Imagine an AEW crowd
full of everyone in an AEW show knows who Sting is, you know.
Woo! I don't know why I laugh so hard at this. Some people find it stupid. I love the fact that Shawn Spears has just a picture of Tully Blanchard right on his crotch.
Yeah, that was hilarious. I'm surprised that the fact that he's paired with Tully, like that's why another reason why I'm like I wish he would be pushed more. But I'm glad that they've stuck with that pairing, because I thought for a while it was just going to be temporary. I thought it was just going to be, for the match against Cody, and then he would go away. But I'm glad that they've kept them together.
Yeah. So see, next is in my opinion a very good championship match for the AEW Women's Championship. Hikaru Shida taking on the champion Nyla Rose. No disqualification, no countouts. This is a fantastic match.
They definitely, it was a showcase for both competitors here, and I like, this was another one where I'm like, I don't think either one walked away a loser, because they made Nyla Rose appear
knocked out with a kendo stick right to the head.
Yeah, she appeared very strong in this entire match. but I thought the right person won in the end.
I did too, especially with what has been happening lately, which we talked about at the beginning. I'm so glad that Shida, who was friends with Hana Kimura, got to celebrate this moment. Yeah, this was a fantastic match. I love the knee that she hits on the what's it called, on the poker chip.
Yeah.
Now it falls over and like the whole thing timbers on top.
Yeah, no, that was quite the spot.
Just a fantastic match all around. It ends with Shida taking her kendo stick back, hitting it over the head, breaking it. Like she broke the stick over the head of Nyla Rose, hits her running knee, and wins the championship. Fantastic match.
And I believe that makes the women's title the one that's changed hands the most out of any AEW title, because the tag titles have only changed once, world title only once, and now this is twice, because you had Riho, Nyla Rose, and now Hikaru Shida.
Yep. Speaking of AEW World Championship, let's get into the AEW Championship match. Jon Moxley defend his championship against Mr. Brody Lee. I freaking love this match. I thought should have been no disqualification.
Yeah, but I feel like all AEW matches, they kind of bend the rules a bit, because there were some hardcore type stuff here where it was like,
I get it, especially for a World Championship match. You gotta just let things go.
Right.
Yeah, definitely. This match was great.
It was definitely a bit of a showcase party for Brody Lee. I love his character work. I love when he just goes over to Leva Bates and just flips the table just because he's a dick and he knows it. But also, right person won. Moxley. A lot of people on Twitter are saying, similar to the Lance Archer thing, like, you've been building up this guy for so long, like, why are you gonna have him lose? It's like he's got to lose eventually. Like, also that's how wrestling works, in the sense of you build up a credible threat so that the champion can beat him. And on top of that, this is Moxley's first pay-per-view defense. And if you want to establish this as a credible title, I think Moxley should hold it for a year. I think you got to have long reigns. You can't just
have almost a Jericho.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to see him get 2 or 3 defenses on pay-per-view before dropping it, because Jericho, even though he defended against Darby Allin, Scorpio Sky on TV, he really only defended against Cody on pay-per-view. So I agree that, Brody Lee's a hot character, but he's another one where I'm like, they protected him in defeat. He took a beating in this match.
He not only took a paradigm shift off the stage through the fucking stage, he got up, kicked out at one of 2 paradigm shifts, and it took Moxley having to choke him out to win the.
And he passed out, right? He didn't tap.
Yeah, he passed out. He didn't tap.
So that's barely even a loss. That's one of those ones that will go down as like, they do it way too much in WWE nowadays. But back in the day when Stone Cold passed out to Bret Hart, that made Stone Cold.
Mm-hmm. And this is going to make Brody Lee, because now he has a legitimate gripe. He can say, hey, you didn't beat me. You didn't pin me. I passed out. I didn't tap.
Yeah. He can say the whole, like, you won, I didn't lose type thing.
Yeah. I love what Brody Lee was doing, like holding the championship, stealing it from Moxley, saying like, I am the real world champion.
And I do love the security at the beginning. Just makes just makes it feel like a bigger fight.
Yes. It's so hard to pick match of the night because there's so many good ones. This might be my match of the night.
Yeah. It's one of the better, like, I mean, I still might go Cody Lance because I'm just a bigger Cody fan, but I can recognize the faults with Cody Lance. This one didn't have too many problems with it.
And it was the perfect length.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It didn't go too long. It knew what it was, and they showcased it.
Yeah. 100%.
And finally, oh, let's talk about it. The Stadium Stampede match, baby.
When you asked me to come on this, Hunter, I will say 90% of the reason why I want to talk Double or Nothing was because of this match. Because, oh my God.
Please tell me you loved it.
Oh, I loved it. I will say, if there's one positive from quarantine, it's all these cinematic matches. And
Yeah.
I will say they just keep getting better and better. This was ridiculous, but so self-aware, and everyone in it was like in on it. And just there's so many highlights. We can try to go through them. But
we
I
can try.
I feel like you should start out with stuff you liked, and then I'll chime in with other spots I like.
First, though, I do want to quiet some of these criticisms.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you've been hearing what people are saying, that it was disrespectful for them to show an act of someone drowning, especially after the Shad Gaspard incident with the Matt Hardy and the.
Oh. Okay. I can see why that can be taken.
I cannot.
Well, okay, I can see the criticism. I can see the point of view. But Matt Hardy, in his whole broken lore and universe, it is well established the lake of reincarnation. Like that's a thing. So
is he, like, even in the scene, he's smiling at the camera, he's doing waves, like he's not in any danger. You can clearly see that they're having fun with it. Like, I don't see why people have to take shit so seriously.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be a joke type match that was filmed ahead of time.
I can't really think of a comparison, but like I said, I would still disagree with the disrespect if it wasn't a part of Matt Hardy's lore, but I will 100% disagree with the disrespect because we know in every different iteration of those broken matches, whether it's TNA, whether it's WWE with the Ultimate Deletion, the Lake of Reincarnation, that's a thing. It's well established. So I get why people are upset, but I don't think it's warranted.
Yeah. I love the opening of this match. I love the inner circle coming out with the cheerleaders. Yep. And you hear Jericho's music, and then they come out and they're wearing freaking football jerseys with helmets.
Love it.
I love it. I love the fact that each of them have a number that is meaningful to them on it. And JR says Sam McGraw picked 93 because he was born in 1993.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we have to talk about freaking Hangman Page making a grand entrance on a freaking horse.
So good.
I was kind of hoping that Sammy Guevara would take a bump off the horse.
I wanted him to get hit by the horse. I was looking forward to that. I remember I was sending Snapchats to my friends just of this match, and within a 10-second frame, it went from them charging at each other. So it was like they're fighting. Someone gets like I think it was one of the Young Bucks did the moonsault off the goalpost, and then it cuts to Hangman Page just in the back, just on the horse, just searching, and I'm just like, man, pro wrestling is so hard to explain sometimes, but this is just so gold.
I forgot to mention in the Brody Lee versus Moxley match, my favorite line on commentary during that match was Tony Schiavone saying, "Oh, apparently Brody Lee hates yawning, and sees sneezing as a weakness."
Yeah, that's very very tongue-in-cheek reference to one Mr. Vince McMahon.
Yeah. So back to this match, which was just absolute insanity. Definitely go check out this match because we cannot do this justice. I think you only get like 2 minutes of in-ring action, like actual in-ring action.
Yeah, it was a brawl. That's what it was. It was WCW Attitude Era WWE at its finest.
Yeah.
And the people that will complain about this kind of stuff, like you got to just turn your brain off because like this feud is like, obviously they were supposed to have the War Games match, and I think they'll do it eventually.
Yeah, that's.
But I think this was like a fun way to like make the most of a quarantine situation. How can we put on a spectacle that people will remember when there's no crowd? Oh, we have access to a football stadium. WWE doesn't even have that. They would have to talk to owners. They would have to talk to people and pull some strings. The Khans own the Jaguars. They have free reign. You got it in your arsenal. You might as well use it.
Another spot I absolutely loved is it's Sammy Guevara and I believe it's Matt Jackson, and they just do the endless suplexes with fantastic camera cuts, and it cuts back, and he's at the 50-yard line. He just keeps doing it. He finally gets a touchdown with it. He gets all the way to the end zone, 100 yards, and he does the freaking like a dance, and the referee calls him for what's it
Excessive celebration. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just classic Indies Young Bucks super kicks the referee. Great callback. One thing I'll say I loved is the Hager Hangman bar fight.
Bar fight was so good.
Just a great spot of Hager just dumping Hangman on the counter and just sliding him across, knocking everything over.
You have Hager taking like 50 bottles.
That was just hilarious of just a comedic amount of like, I think they broke like 8 bottles over his head, just consecutive, and I'm just like, this is great right now.
I want to bring up like Chris Jericho hitting the mascot with a juice effect.
Yeah.
And then covering Nick Jackson with a pin. He gets a 2 count, and then he calls a freaking replay foul. He like throws.
Yeah, he challenges for a replay, and I thought it was hilarious.
I love Aubrey Edwards playing along with this. She goes into the little little tent area to watch the replay, and you just hear Aubrey Edwards saying, "You're not even supposed to be in here." And then Chris Jericho ends it with, "You're the worst fucking ref ever."
Yeah, that was so good.
Oh my god!
I think of other stuff I loved. I loved the whole Matt Hardy stuff. Like I know you talked about
Matt Fax. Matt Fax came back.
Yeah, the controversy. I understand the controversy, but it was just so funny when the camera would cut to him underwater, and he's just like, "Yeah," and he like the V1 and everything.
Dude,
cold.
I actually read the Matt Fax thing. It says Matt can hold his breath for like 381 seconds or something like that.
Yep.
And then up under it, it says different versions of Matt Hardy. It says Matt Hardy version 1, Big Money Matt.
Yep. It was great.
Like, great callback. I love Ortiz's timing, his comedic timing, because he's like, Santana's in the pool fighting with Matt, and he calls Ortiz and he goes, "I can't swim. It's 3 feet of water."
That was great. Yeah.
Let's see. God, you have freaking a drunk Hangman Page coming with a line marker.
That was
right from the crotch of Jericho over his face.
Yep.
I love the commentary. The commentary in this match was fantastic.
Oh yeah, because they're in on it as well.
Well, they actually play it for the live audience, so you got to hear the reactions of the wrestlers outside watching it for the first time. Yeah,
that was cool.
Let's see.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of other spots in the match. Love Guevara. Guevara is awesome.
We have to talk about Omega and Hardy bringing back the golf cart.
Oh yeah, iconic.
So he just looked like he saw a ghost.
Yeah, and that led to essentially the final spot, which was, man, like they just do this stuff with no fear at this point, and I'm just like, I don't know how.
Yep, one winged angel from Kenny Omega to Sammy Guevara off the stands through a wooden platform for the win.
Yeah. Oh, one other spot I wanted to say was when one of the Young Bucks was running down the steps to get all the momentum and then hit, like, I think it was either
it was a body press.
Yeah, like a splash or something. I just thought that was great, just use of the environment. But that one winged angel, man, that was
Santana and Ortiz being taken out.
Yeah, in the freezer.
Freaking Ortiz gets taped up to a chair by Matt
Yep.
Hardy, who's saying that this isn't messing. Matt hits him and then says, "Take this, boom, and call me in the morning."
Yeah. And then he like rings the bell in his ears too.
Yeah, he's
Brutal.
just.
And then obviously the getting locked in the freezer, Santana, that was brutal.
Great callback. Great callback too.
100%.
Let's see. Have we talked about Jericho hitting the juice effect on the Jacksonville Jaguar mascot?
Yeah. You mentioned that one. That was perfect timing.
Let's see. I'm trying to figure out.
I feel like it was a long match, but I feel like we covered a lot of the spots.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much watch this match in its entirety because you.
I'll go. You froze for a second. I don't know if you can hear me. Test 1 2. Test 1 2. I'm gonna type a message here in the chat. So we currently have a freeze situation. I don't know if it's on both ends, but the broadcast still says it's going on. But I will. And it looks like, is he back?
Hello.
Cool. Okay. Was I frozen or were you frozen?
I think it was me. I think it was on my end.
You were frozen on my end. So we had like 20 seconds of some dead air. But what I was saying was, in terms of all the cinematic matches we've had Boneyard, we've had Firefly, Money in the Bank, and now this. I think I would put this at number 2 behind Firefly.
See, I put this at number 1 because I think there was so much going on.
Yeah.
Not only did you have the storyline going on, you had great callbacks. You had stuff that made sense along with comedy moments. You had a great bar fight. Like everything there was nothing I can think of that was negative.
That's fair. I mean, Firefly for me, I just thought it was
like an actual match.
That's true. Yeah. In terms of Firefly barely counts because it wasn't really a match. It was more of just like, a scene. But yeah, in terms of the ones that had actual wrestling in them, this is far and away number 1 for me.
Oh yeah. All right. So let's get into our 3 categories. We have match of the night, fight of the night, and what is it? Match of the night.
You said match of the night twice.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, match of the night.
Fight of the night.
Brawl of the night, was that?
Brawl of the night, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay, match of the night, I am going to go with Cody versus Lance because I had such a vested interest in this match. I wanted Cody to win so bad. And the fact that even though I recognize that there were problems with the match, when you have one that you genuinely don't know who's going to win and you have someone that you're really behind, it's hard to not love that match. So I'm going to go Cody Lance for match of the night. Fight of the night, I'm going to go Brody versus Moxley because I thought they incorporated the environment very well, still within the rules of the match. And it felt more like a fight than like a wrestling match per se, but it didn't teeter on the lines of a brawl because even though there was wrestling involved and there was fighting involved, there wasn't like those hardcore aspects. And then brawl of the night, I feel like we're going to have the same answer for this one. Stadium Stampede. I mean, it's maybe not brawl of the night, maybe it's brawl of the year. Like it was that good because you can't really call like Taker Styles like a brawl because it was kind of one-on-one. This was everything. This was everything you would want from a 90s era wrestling brawl, and just it was awesome.
All right, so for me, match of the night, I'm going MJF versus Jungle Boy.
Okay, respect.
I think from a pure wrestling standpoint, it was the best of the night.
Sure.
Brawl of the night or fight of the night. I'm going with you, Moxley versus Brody for the title. I think that was a fantastic fight. And then of course, the Brawl of the night has to be the Stadium Stampede.
Has to be.
Come on, it has to be. All right, guys, we're over an hour. I think this is where we're going to end. Liam, thank you for joining me tonight. You're always welcome on here whenever you want. Where can people find you?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much for having me. This was a blast to talk some wrestling. You can find me on all socials at Liam T. Crowley, and then you can find me back in this CWT ring very soon, kicking Nico Suave Rigoli's ass.
Yep, because your match with Nico is next month. How do you feel about that?
I'm feeling pretty good. Training is just kind of same old, same old. Definitely when the weeks get closer to that, I'm going to up my studying. But for now, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling hot. And I mean, I'm coming off a win that was just pure annihilation. So it's hard. It's hard not to feel good. Nico's a great competitor. I'm not going to take him lightly by any means. And I think we're going to put on a hell of a match. So it's a win for everyone.
I'll go ahead and say this. The winner of this match next month will take on JB3 in the week after, maybe, depending on how the rankings come out.
Looking forward to it.
All right, guys. If you did enjoy this, hit that like button. Subscribe to Nerd Entertainment Network below. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you guys soon. Peace.